Hi, good morning, everybody. Joe Van Doren here, and welcome to our Virtues Pick for today. We're excited to have this one on a Friday. I don't know why I just said that, but that's how I'm feeling. So the word that we got this morning when we shook up our phone was strength. So what a great virtue that is. And let's just look at it for a little bit and see how it's helpful and how we can develop it. Strength is the inner power to withstand whatever comes. It is our capacity to endure in the midst of tests. We grow in strength as we tackle life's challenges with courage and determination. We deepen in strength when we choose gentleness and practice patience. We stay strong when we recognize that suffering is a thread woven through the design of our lives, not to make us unhappy, but to transform us with grace. So what a great word and virtue. And as I'm thinking about it this morning, one of the things that I've been looking at very carefully is the things that happen to us on a day-to-day basis, or even in larger terms in our life, that are things that we do not want, that we would prefer not to have anyway, are not really meant to do anything more for us except to strengthen us, to transform us, to help us to create the person that we are meant to be, and to help us grow. Every time something happens to us that we don't, that we would have, that we didn't think we really wanted to have happen to us, is an opportunity for us to really grasp what it is that we do want. So, in other words, let's say something occurs and we're feeling upset about it, or we're feeling angry about it. Can you switch that around and say, okay, this is what happened and this is how I'm feeling right now. How could I switch that around to being something and understanding and have a deeper understanding of what I do want? And then, have I seen those things in my life before? And is it possible for those things to come back? And that's what strength is all about. Strength is a virtue that supports resilience. Strength is a virtue that supports optimism and hope. And so as I have things come into my life, just like everybody does, that, are experiences that we prefer not to have, I have found that if you can look at them in a way to understand that this is just a contrasting kind of situation, a situation where this isn't what I hope for, and so what is the other end of the stick, so to speak, right? So the other end of the stick is what I do hope for, and then I try to put my attention on those things and work from there. So we appreciate seeing people with strength, right? That are able to see challenging situations, or have challenging situations in their life, and with great amount of courage and determination, they work through them. And sometimes, many times, in fact, they find that on the other side of all that, they get to do something, or they are inspired to do something that is far greater than they may have ever approached doing before that challenge came about. We want to be able to do this ourselves, but we also want to be able to help our children to develop that kind of strength. So how do we do that? Well, first we have to recognize, I think anyway, that we don't get stronger either in our character or in our ability to meet challenges, or in any of those things. We don't make any of our virtues stronger unless there are some contrasting situations where we get to practice it. So it's just like, and I know you've heard this a million times, but it's just like a muscle, right? If you don't practice, if you don't strengthen the muscle and use it, then it weakens, and it gets smaller. Atrophy, I think, is what they call it. And so, looking at the challenges that we have as opportunities to understand what we want and then begin to practice those things and think about them in a more positive way is certainly a way of helping us with developing this virtue of strength. And of course, we want to do this with our children. We want them to develop all of their virtues inside of them. But to do so, we have to allow them the opportunity to practice them. So, just to give a quick example, if we would like to see our child be more patient, we have to give them opportunities, and there will be plenty of them, to practice their patience, right? And when they're practicing it, it's a good idea to encourage them to acknowledge when you see patience being being practiced, even if it's just a little tiny bit. And then it can grow from there, because we're not going to go from no patience to full-blown patience, right, in one setting. It develops over a period of time. Just like we're not going to have, assertiveness. We're not going to have assertiveness from this point to this point. We're not going to grow in that from a level 1 to a level 10 immediately. It's a step-by-step process. And I think the longer that we appreciate the fact that our children are going through these processes, just like the way they learn to walk, step by step, little by little, mistakes are made, falls are had, but then they get up and they go. And that's the beauty of strength, because it helps us to develop some of the other virtues that we're hoping to develop, both in ourselves and in our children, and possibly even in others. So that's how I'm thinking about strength today. How am I going to focus on it? Well, there's things that I am challenged with in my life. Many of them are self-inflicted, I must add. And so I'm going to be looking at it from the idea of, what can I do today that is strengthening some of these virtues that I need to strengthen, that will be helpful to me. And knowing that as I do that, as I meet those challenges, as I face them, and as I endure the test, even though they're personal tests, they're not like things even from the outside sometimes, knowing that there will be a transformation, that there will be growth as I continue to work on and focus on practicing those things. And so that's how I'm going to focus on strength today. How could you focus on strength? That's the question. So as we go through the day, let's do that. And as always, I'm just going to remind you that we have these Virtue Live picks every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday we're on, we just post something on Facebook. And so I encourage you to go to our YouTube site and subscribe, so that you're reminded on a daily basis. I'm really appreciative of all of those who have subscribed, and I would also say that it's just something for us a positive thing for us to look at on a daily basis. So that's my practice anyway. So until Monday morning, or until tomorrow, Saturday, when you see it just on Facebook, keep practicing the virtues and the 4 C's of successful families, and that is clarity, communication, consistency, and community. Until next time, bye.